Hello, whichever time of the day it is for you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm really happy that you joined me here today. So I'm Stuart Holcroft. I'm an independent associate for a company that distributes its products through a system called network marketing. Now, somebody said to me quite recently, oh, you want to get me involved because it's a pyramid scheme. Interesting. I did ask the person what they meant by a pyramid scheme, but there was no answer. So I've got to assume they assume that I'm forcing people to buy things, and that's the only way I can make a living out of the whole thing, because they're investing money in me and I'm getting money from them or whatever else. Before I address that specific point, I'd just like to talk to you about what is a pyramid scheme. Now, if you take this diagram behind me, so ignore this bit for now, which is just a triangle at the bottom. If you take, for example, the armed forces, an army unit, which has a number of private soldiers down here, represented by the red. In charge of them, actually, in one of them will be a section commander or a section second in charge, lance corporal or a corporal. But anyway, there's somebody in charge who gets paid slightly more money, and they've got a little bit more responsibility. In charge of that, in charge of the section, you'll have a junior officer, you'll have a sergeant up there, all of whom are being paid more money, more responsibility, more power. Above that, you'll have the major, the lieutenant colonel, the generals, and all the rest of it, which will nicely fit into this triangular rank structure where, generally speaking, all the guys at the bottom, guys and girls at the bottom, will get a lower wage than those people at the top, unless you are very highly specialized and you do a specific job. You'll basically be given the lowest wage at the bottom. As you work your way to the top, you'll be able to earn the top wage and have the responsibility and prestige and status that goes with it. And in the army, you'll normally start to change your voice somewhat as well, as the higher you go up the ranks, but that's irrelevant right now. So generally, that's the way that the rank structure works. If you change these people down here into people that work in the National Health Service, for example, doctors, nurses, cleaners, whatever it happens to be down here, they all have somebody in charge of them, a supervisor. The supervisor would then have a manager. The manager would then have a director on the board of trustees for the NHS Trust and this sort of thing. And again, it's this kind of triangular system whereby the people at the very top get most of the money, the people at the bottom do all the work, and that's just the way that society goes in terms of those things. Let's take a council, let's take a refuse collection service. Guy in charge of the refuse collection service, the guy in charge of the shift, the bin men and women and everything else that goes with it will be doing all the work, and obviously the people at the top will be raking in the most of the money, obviously taking the flack that goes with it as well. And pretty much everything in terms of a recommended or a recognised workplace has the similar sort of structure. You take, apart from perhaps a sports team, but even on a sports team, you've got the players, you've then got the manager, you've then got the directors and all those sort of things as well. And again, the scale of money, except for football, tends to be that pyramidal shape. Football is upside down, really. The footballers get paid the most, and then whatever. Anyway, generally, the point is that in a shop setting where you've got the assistants working on the floor, you've got supervisor, you've got manager, that same sort of triangular system. Compare that, if you will, with network marketing. So typically within a network, so if you take somebody represented by the black dot in here, so it's somebody that's spoken to you about the opportunity to do a network marketing business. That person speaks to you, you decide to say, do you know what, let's give it a go. And you've then got as much chance of making anything of your particular business that you want it to be. You can either choose to do nothing whatsoever. You can choose to do a little bit where you're either selling products to somebody else because they want to get that result that you want, but there's certainly no pressure selling or anything else like this. Or you can go out and you can speak to some other people and say, why don't you join me in this mission to help people in whichever capacity? I'm going to talk to you about specifically the one that I'm involved with in a short while. But if you look at the way that it's organized, every single person in these two steps has an equal ability to gain as much money or as little money as they choose to. You're not confined by a wage and bonus committee that's deciding on how much you're earning. You're not dictated to by lack of overtime commitments or the time scale that you can work, or by the government setting minimum wage, whatever. You entirely have it in your own hands to determine how much you make out of it. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit more in terms of the company that I'm working with right now. So if you choose to, as a green person, you can choose to what's called recruit, or get somebody to work alongside you. And they can choose to either do nothing, do a little bit, or they can start to recruit people themselves. Now, within the network marketing organization, inevitably, you have to be rewarded, because there's no point in any company setting up any business unless the people are rewarded. You work in a shop, you get rewarded by getting the pay. You work on the bin, you get rewarded by pay. You work as a butcher's dog, you get rewarded by an occasional bone. But you get the point that everybody has to be rewarded in terms of making it happen. If you work in a charity, then a lot of people will do the charitable work because it's a charity, and therefore they don't want pay or any sort of recognition, but they want some sort of recognition anyway. Whether it's a written report or something that goes along and says, "Isn't David a really fantastic guy? And didn't Jeanette do a great job in that event?" Whatever. So it's that recognition that people need in order to get the very best from them. So network marketing very much does recognize the fact that people need to be rewarded in some way for their efforts. Some network marketing organizations have a holiday scheme. You can win a car with some of them. You can have all sorts of bonuses and recognitions, whatever, but you've got to choose correctly. Now, the particular network marketing organization that I've linked up with is a company called Vox Life. Vox Life has a range of wearable neurotech, which people wear, quite simply, put it onto their body, and it changes the way the brain operates in a fundamentally important way. And my thought about working in this company is that every single time I speak to somebody else, so if I'm the green person, if I speak to somebody else, potentially about joining my organization, first of all, I never say to them straight away, "Come and join me, it's great, you can make gazillions of money," because that's not the reality. The reality is, if you put the work in and you make the effort and you make things happen, if you're a great person at speaking to other people and having the communication thing going, then you'll do really well out of it. But generally speaking, you've got to put the effort in to get the rewards. So what I generally tend to say to people is, try this product, see how you get on, see how your brain changes, and see what benefits you're getting. Try it with some family and friends. There's a no risk trial, 100% money back guarantee, and all those things that go with it. I never say to people it will definitely fix your whatever you've got, because I can't say that, because it works in the brain. But generally speaking, I speak to people and say, give it a go, try it, see what happens. If you like it, you can try and encourage other people to try it as well. And the thing that I focus on is not necessarily getting money from down here. I focus on the people down here having a really good, just realize it looks a bit like a man, that doesn't it? Arms and legs, purely coincidental. But again, I focus on the fact that people have fundamentally life-changing experiences from wearing this neurotech. Take Alison, who had really bad feet. It broke all the time when she was a dancer for 20 years. 20 years after that, her feet were just stiff and not working properly. She put the socks on. She wore them for 3 weeks, and she found that she was walking down the stairs one day, and suddenly she felt like it was she was sucking minty mouthwash into her mouth, and she said it was that freshness feeling on her toes as she realised she could move them, and she felt like dancing again. We've got people like Graham, who can now walk. He had a partial paralysis down one side of his body, so he couldn't walk, he couldn't speak, his face dropped down. Whenever he wears the technology, he can function as a normal human being. Define normal for me, would you? So he functions as a normal human being. He can walk, he can climb stairs, he can talk. I saw a video the other day of a lady in Alabama, I think it was, Brandy, who had trouble walking up and down stairs. And I saw the video before she had the technology on her. Walked up the stairs, had real trouble falling down, almost tripped over on the way down. Literally put the patch in her arm, said, "Go again," and she walked down with no problem whatsoever. I've also seen people having speech problems where they physically can't speak, put the patch on, and it shows them being able to function and speak properly. lots of other stories as well, all because people have tried this technology onto them. So is it a pyramid scheme? Am I forcing people to go and do things that they don't want to do? Absolutely not. If I detected it was some sort of scheme where I had to go and sell things to people and use their money to feather my nest, I would absolutely run a mile from it. I recently heard I had a presentation about a particular network marketing organization, which is about money. And I was asked to invest some money into this system. And basically I would increase my money, but I was encouraged to recruit more people to come and invest their money. And somebody said to me, it's not a Ponzi. And a Ponzi basically is where you rely on other people's money coming in to make your money work. They said it's not a Ponzi because we've got a training academy. And I suddenly thought, that's an interesting thing. So apart from the training academy, what's left? And it led me to believe that that actually, some things aren't as good as they seem. But genuinely, if you have any concerns about my particular network marketing agency or company being a pyramid scheme, just don't go anywhere near it. If you do like helping people, if you like getting a little bit of money for helping people as well, then let's have a chat about it. But otherwise, if you've got any concerns about it whatsoever, please stay away from it. Throughout my life, I've even from when I first started off working in a supermarket, I used to be so frugal with my money that I would always have money left at the end of the month. Kept it going throughout my RAF career as well. And I was one of those guys that people sometimes came to and said, towards the end of the month, hey, Stuart, in the old days, you used to say, have you got £20 I can borrow till the end of the month? This is like the third week of the month. Sure, David, not a problem at all. Gave him the money. The money would then appear. Started to tap me up for more and more money. Realised that he wasn't going to pay me back, but that's just the way I've been the whole time. I've just been giving money rather than taking money off other people. And I'm not going to start changing now. So if you think in any way that I'm asking you to pay me money just so I can make a small bit of commission or take some financial benefit from it, then you're absolutely wrong. If there was any hint or whisper that this organization I'm with now had anything like that at all, I would absolutely run a mile, as I have done with other opportunities that have been put my way. But the vast majority of network marketing organizations are not what you would call a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme that relies on money. When it comes to investing money through a network marketing organization, I generally go, hairs in the back of my neck. So is this network marketing? Yes, it is. Is it a Ponzi or is it a pyramid? I don't believe so. I don't think there's any way I can make that justification as to make it a negative thing. Is it a great way of making money and helping people at the same time? Yes, it absolutely is. So again, your choice. I'm not forcing anybody. And if you'd like to have a further chat, then let's have a chat about it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.